Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 92 of the What Are We Doing podcast. My name is Levi McCurdy, and welcome back to the What Are We Doing podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking out episode 92. Speaking of 92, what a great year, okay? A lot of amazing people born in 1992, okay? If you're one of them, hit the thumbs up button, okay? And if you're in that range within I don't know, 30 to 50, why don't we say 50 years either way? If you were born in 1992 or 50 years prior or 50 years after, let me know and hit that thumbs up button if you were. And if you were also born in 1992, hit that subscribe button down below. It's red. It's beautiful. There's a bell beside it. If you want to be awesome there, hit that too. Or hit follow or subscribe or whatever call to action on the platform it is that you're watching this on. So happy Pride Month, everybody. It's officially Pride Month. And last week we had the Target logo Pride shirt on. Thank you to all of the people who left comments on the video asking, oh my gosh, where can I get it? It's an amazing shirt. That's a dope ass Target shirt. Where'd you get it? I want one. Go you. You're amazing. And dude, these kids with the acronyms like the OMG, LOL, WTF. This one guy commented on my video and dropped a KYS, FAG. And I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown away by his sense of pride. This guy, obviously, KYS, kissing you senseless. I do that to Megs every night. She's like, KYS. And then I go over there and I kiss her a whole bunch. And then obviously FAG for the gays. And we're not only for the gays here on this podcast. We are for the lesbians and the rest of the LGBTQ plus I community. If there's more letters now, I think there might be, but I'm sorry, those are the letters I know. And so, it's crazy. So we got a lot of comments, a lot of positivity around the episode last week with our Target Pride shirt. We've got plenty more of them, and I let the people know who did comment on it. Another one over on Facebook, I let him know as well. We have plenty of those Target Pride shirts. We bought a bunch of them last year. They were super cheap, so we got a bunch. I have multiple sizes. If you need one or want one, let me know, and we'll see what we can do. You know what I mean? So just blown away by everyone's sense of pride and inclusion this year with what we're doing, with all the corporations and all the logos that we see changing on social media that happens every, time this month rolls around. And so, it's unfortunate. Some companies are getting bullied, they did change it, but then they went back. It's weird. This year, it's rough. It's a little rough in the streets. And so, but we're pushing on. And we're doing great. We're doing great this year. And, it's funny that people in 2023 are dedicated more than ever to their jobs. And so, recent studies show that quitting and putting the resignation out there and not showing up to work, those numbers are down. Quitting culture was a thing years ago, during COVID pandemic times. But quitting is down, and staying committed and being 24/7 about your job is up. Okay. Now, if you work for someone, and this is just my professional opinion, but it's always, if you do have a boss, my opinion, do the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Show up at 9:01, leave at 4:45, get to work, do the bare, just whenever the reports are due, get them in last minute, Friday, right before you leave, whenever, take an extra 12 to 24 to 48 hours to answer that email. They can wait up to 72. It's okay. It's going to be okay. and, just kind of do the bare minimum and just make that paycheck. And, make the most out of your time there. Spend an extra few minutes in the bathroom, spend an extra few minutes talking to your buddy, extend that lunch by 10 to 15. And then realistically, you're only, there working for anywhere from like 4 to 4.5 hours. So bare minimum will get you by. And so, but then there's the employees, right? And we all have those employees or those coworkers we know, those people who like are just above and beyond their job. They love it. They represent the company 24/7, outside work, inside of work. It's just like, you know what I mean? They are immersed into the world of their job. I got 1,000 subscribers and Liquid Death still hasn't called me. I had a neighbor once who loved his job at the bank. He worked at a bank and he loved it. He would tell us story after story after story, and the people he would meet that would come through his line and how much money they had or didn't have. And like at one point, he started becoming friends with like his boss and upper management. They started coming over to the house and having dinner. And like on the weekends, they were spending time together. They got the kids together for play dates. And like he became like 24/7 with his employer. And so then like, on the weekends they were hanging out and then they were just working, of course, 9 to 5 together all week. And honestly, it is like, I'll be honest for a second. A smidge. I miss it for a smidge. There's a smidge of me being an entrepreneur, that you just, being an entrepreneur, you just don't have some of the luxuries and benefits a standard W-2 employee does, like, a steady paycheck every 2 weeks, health insurance, retirement benefits, life insurance, all the stuff that comes with working for someone else, you don't get working for yourself. And so, we kind of have to put that aside. And sometimes we kind of miss having those securities. But, you have to be careful because some stores and some corporations, some managers, they'll fire you. They'll fire you for doing the right thing because at the end of the day, it all comes down to policy. Okay. At the end of the day, it all comes out for policy. Now, just like Lululemon, okay, these employees, they were fired for trying to stop a robbery. And there's a pattern here within the stories, you'll see. And so now there's a new law, right? They passed a law maybe a few years ago, whenever it was. They passed a law in California that basically states any robbery, any theft, like any stolen property that doesn't exceed $1,000, they're not sending cops out. They're not filing a report. They're not doing anything about it. They're not searching for the person who committed the crime. And you'll most likely never see your stuff ever again. Like the police just don't care. Now, if it's over $1,000, say they stole a few MacBook Pros out of the Apple vault, trust me, the cops are probably going to show up and file a report. They're still not going to search for the guy. They're still never going to find him. You're never going to get your merchandise back. But, at least they'll give a little bit of an effort. So if it's under 1,000, no one does anything anymore out in California. So people are just walking into stores left and right, taking whatever they want off the shelves and just walking out. And 9 times out of 10, either the employees working in the store don't see them, they don't have security, the alarms are going off, but they're told not to chase the employees. And when they do, they're reprimanded for it. And a lot of times with their jobs. 2 Lululemon employees in California are speaking out after they were fired after calling the police on would-be robbers. Jennifer Ferguson, a former assistant manager, So management is taking it into their own hands. The people that are there at the store from open to close every day that they're open is taking it into their own hands. Management at Lululemon. The Lululemon store, one of her employees, Rachel Rogers, were fired by the retail chain after a shocking video was captured of the duo yelling at and chasing masked robbers out of the store before calling police when they claim they got them fired, according to the report. So Jennifer and her employee Rachel, obviously with their phones started filming because that's just what you do in 2023. We need the video evidence or it didn't happen. So everyone just starts filming. And so what they confronted these people, they stole a few pairs of leggings and they went back inside and then called the police. And apparently that was the wrong thing to do. They said, we were not supposed to get in the way. You're supposed to clear a path for whatever they're going to do, Ferguson said in the store's policy. And then after it's over, you scan a QR code and that's that. We've been told not to put it in any notes because it might scare other people, and we're not supposed to call the police, not really supposed to talk about it. So when someone's robbing your store, they're telling their employees not to engage in anything. Don't film them. Don't tell them to stop. Don't call the police. Don't ask for help. Just stand back and let them take it. Is the way of America. Is the way of America. I just saw a video of British police, like literally on the ground, on top of 5 different people waiting for backup, like sumo wrestling down to the ground, like 5 people for something like jaywalking. But here we are letting people take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars out of stores of merchandise, and the employees are being reprimanded for it. So of course, this isn't the first time that happened. And I mean, Lululemon makes sense. Like stealing from Lululemon makes sense. Those leggings are $100, $150 to $200 a pop. Now, be smart. Keep it under the $1,000 limit. Don't go taking 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs because now you're going to court. You got to take 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 pairs at a time, and then it's under the $1,000 each time. Be smart when you're stealing from Lululemon. So other thieves have come up with other smarter ways. And so to keep it under that $1,000 limit, some people rob the dollar store. And I get it. Inflation. Don't go to the regular grocery store. Don't go anywhere else. Go to the dollar store because things are most likely still $1, or in this case, I think it's the Dollar General. And we're doing like, $1.75s and up. So Jesse Soto of California now, who is a criminal justice major, says the alleged shoplifter had been a known problem at her Fresno, California store, ignoring prior warnings to stop stealing. She says she'd finally had enough and decided to take matters into her own hands. First of all, she has a criminal justice major in California, and she's working at the Dollar General. I'm not exactly sure what that says about the education / rate to education / job market currently in California. You would think there's like 18 different CSI shows and Law and Orders dedicated to the crimes of California. You would think someone with a criminal justice, degree would have a pretty easy time getting a job in that field of expertise. I guess I'm wrong. We're not always right here on the What Are We Doing podcast. We are 99.9% of the time, but sometimes you're wrong, So she goes to her manager, right? She goes to her manager and she says, hey, listen, this guy keeps coming in. You're not here. No one else is here. It's just me working. This guy comes in every other week and he's stealing a bunch of stuff. I tell him to stop and he just doesn't listen. He says, F you, bit, and then just walks out of the store with all this stuff and he doesn't pay for it. If he comes in again, can I do something about it? Will you not fire me if I intervene with this guy and not do something about it? And so she goes to her manager and she says all this stuff. And they're like, you know what? You're right. He's been stealing from us for weeks. We're losing hundreds of dollars every time. You can't do anything about it because so if you think you can handle it, you go ahead and you intervene next time, her manager says. So she gets permission from the manager of her store and says, okay, bet. So she goes home, she comes up with a plan. If little buddy comes back, she's going to know exactly what to do. Okay. So she's ready. So she goes to her shift, couple of days go by, nothing, good, normal customer. She knows everyone's name. She's super friendly. She loves her job. She's ride or die for the Dollar General. And so sure enough, boom, 3 or 4 days goes by. He's back. The thief is back. She sees him lurking. He hits aisle 2. He hits aisle 3. He hits aisle 4, gets a bunch of stuff, puts it in his bike basket, and starts pedaling down the street on his bicycle. And so she says, no, 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 don't take any of that stuff. I'm coming after you. So what does she do? She hops in her car and chases down after him. Of course, she did the responsible thing. She locked up the store, made sure there were no other customers in the store. She had a moment to make sure that that was okay. And then she chases after him. She chases after him in her car and does this. She bangs him. She bangs him right into the bike with her car. She pretty much runs her over. Now, I don't think that when she asked her manager, hey, can I, if this guy comes back, listen, he's taking a bunch of our stuff. He's costing the corporation a bunch of money. We don't want to get the store shut down. Can I just go after him? Then maybe he'll stop. He won't come back ever again. And so the boss, the manager who approved this undercover thievery operation, I don't think was considering the fact of vehicular manslaughter. I don't think vehicular manslaughter was an option when considering going after the thief. It's okay. He's fine. She didn't really hurt him. She just knocked him off the bike. You can hear it again. Watch it here. Watch it again. He calls her, he yells at her, whatever. He grabs anything he can and he takes off. The police said when they went to the location of the scene where this happened, he was nowhere to be found. So charges will not be filed. So it's just crazy to me. And then of course, it's 2023. So everybody and their brother has a Ring doorbell, some form of brand video camera. Hey, who would have ever thought that video camera doorbells would have been a thing? You know what I mean? Who would have thought? And so everyone's got a Ring camera now on the outside of their house. So we've got the whole thing obviously on camera. And so the video goes viral because it's 2023. And what better way to go viral in 2023 than working at the Dollar General and running someone over with your car? You know what I mean? Especially if that someone just stole a bunch of products from aisle 6. Know what I mean? So, we go. A few days later, and she gets interviewed by TMZ, and we learn that unfortunately she's now been fired by corporate. She has now been fired by the Dollar General, the store that she loved. She knew all the customers' names. She never called off for a shift. She always, picked up extra shifts. She was on track to being a manager. I mean, she was ready to go. She was just, you know what I mean? She was the best employee we could have asked for at the Dollar General, and they let her go. They saw the viral video. They saw what she was capable of behind the wheel. And they said, unfortunately, we can't have you working at the Dollar General anymore. So she's now, what a coincidence, she's now delivering for DoorDash. She's now a DoorDasher. And better believe, hey, if she's in your area, you're most likely going to get your order lickety split. She's now the woman who got fired for running over a thief from the Dollar General with her car, is now a DoorDasher. And I love it. I think it's a great move. I think it's a perfect career path for her. I think the Dollar General's silly. I think they're silly for letting her go. The only thing the Dollar General was ever good for were the balloon animal balloons, the cheapo ones that half the time popped, but when you blew them up, they were really easy to swallow. So I would get them from the Dollar General right before the magic show and go there, and I would swallow balloons as part of my act. That's the only thing the Dollar General was really that good for. So from time to time, again, they have a few products on sale, I believe. But other than that, our girl got fired, man. She got fired. And I'm not sure how we feel about it. We're advocating for her. If there is a GoFundMe, we're going to try to find one. If there's not, we'll see. But boy, she pretty much ran him over. With her car. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll never guess. You'll never guess who's back. You'll never guess who's back. Back again. It's not Eminem, I promise. It's not Eminem. It is, in fact, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Long-awaited information. You guys have been waiting for over a week now for me to confirm. So I am 100% confirming to you guys around the world that, yes, it is true. Hobbs is back. Hobbs is back in the Fast and Furious franchise. And man, I gotta tell you, well, before I get into the why and the how, I was able to pull this off and get together with Vin and pull this thing off. Before I get into that,
I mean, talk about incredible news, people. You saw that final credit scene. I mean, The Rock is back. The Rock is back in the Fast and Furious franchise. And I don't think anyone's more excited for these last two final films and what's coming than I am. So let's talk about it. Listen, the Fast and Furious franchise 10 is out now. Don't even ask. We did not see it, and we probably won't. Okay. The franchise, let's clear this up right now. The franchise died with Paul Walker, RIP, and it should have ended after 8. Okay. The minute they sent the dudes to space, it's game over. The minute your franchise goes to space, it's game over. Come on. Yes or yes? Like, it's when we send Freddy and Jason to space, when the monsters go to space, when everything goes to space, when Fast and the Furious go to space. I mean, it's game over, okay? But listen, they make money. They make so much money. It costs them 100, 200, 300 million just to make it. And then they're out making, I don't know, 8, 9, sometimes $1 billion per film. Do 2 films, you got an easy $1 billion. It's that simple. They keep making money because they're so self-aware. We're sending people to space. We're sending he's driving a freaking, I don't know, American muscle car, whatever you call it, roast me in the comments, with, I don't know, his son or a kid in the seat and 2 oil tankers smashing. The whole movie's on TikTok. What's up with that, by the way? What's up with me not being able to get on TikTok or Twitter without seeing the entire Mario movie, the entire Fast and Furious 10 movie? Like, your movies just aren't safe now. Like, if you have a movie, expect it to be on TikTok and or Twitter within 72 hours of it being released, if not sooner. Like, this whole me scrolling on TikTok, I saw all of the major scenes of the new Fast and Furious movie plus the final credit scene all on TikTok. I don't need to go see it. I know exactly what happens. It's Aquaman from the bank. He couldn't get his withdrawal because Brian O'Connor and Dom drove the fucking the tanks and the cars and the Chargers attached to the vaults, and they drove him down the street of Brazil, and he couldn't get his money that day, so he couldn't feed his family. Now he's back because he had to invent a technology that he sold to the military, and now he's a billionaire, and he's getting revenge on all the street racers, and it's crazy. And so Dom's going down the Hoover Dam with his son on the seat, and they're being engulfed by flames. And when the car should have exploded, and when some, flames are literally surrounding their faces, 3rd-degree burns should been developed for whatever reason, Dom's able to hit the nitrous oxide without causing a further explosion to surround the car with the nitrous and blast them into the river below. And then they survive, and the fireball flame was for nothing. And the bad guy didn't accomplish what he was doing because he didn't take Dom's car. And so there was, cash drama, right? With The Rock being back, there was cash drama, and it was basically the battle of the bald guys. It was 3 white bald guys, Jason Statham, Vin Diesel, and The Rock. And they all have the same contract. They want to make $100 million per film, and they have to win every fight they're in, and they can't die. And so what happens when you have good guys and bad guys with the same contract, you have to end the fights nonchalantly. There can't ever be a winner, and no one ever really dies. And so we can just make stuff up and make whatever happen. And so, Vin Diesel basically owns the Fast franchise at this point with Universal. Like, he's producer on all the films. Like, he has the say. He does everything. He's like, partially probably the reason why the films are such a little bit out of control these last few, probably because of Vin Diesel at the helm. So drama on the set between the actors, etc., etc. But now we've squashed it. The Rock, Vin Diesel, we've all come together and we've made up, and we've reconciled our differences, and it's gonna be, boy oh boy, when and then of course, not only with that news, Vin Diesel hit the media circuit. And so, this was supposed to be the last one, Fast X, last movie, and of course, every week he's doing a new interview for Fast X. He's got to drop a new bit of information to give that movie such more of a bigger boost. So to give it the first boost we needed, we're like, yeah, this one's not the last one. The next one's not the last one. The studio wants a dozen. And so we're doing Fast 11, Fast 12, coming soon. And bada bing, bada boom, he confirms it all. And so now everyone's hyped. We're going to go see Fast X. We got to see 11. We got to see 12. We got to see the whole thing through. Then a week goes by. And of course, we've got to announce the spinoffs. But before we do that, we got to announce what Fast 11 and 12 is about. So Fast 11 and 12, now that we've kind of sort of maybe beat the bad guy, we've got a newish kind of bad guy coming in. Listen, the Fast 11 and Fast 12 movie will be a 2-parter finale where they bring back Brian O'Connor as the final villain for the entire thing. And at the end, it's just a twist that they use AI and a robot to recreate his likenessness and everything about him. And then, of course, believe me, Paul Walker's family, the fans, everyone around it's going to be pissed. We'll probably end up boycotting the last movies because of this, but they will attempt to bring back Paul Walker's character as the final villain. And then once, of course, the family defeats the evil Brian O'Connor AI robot, they'll all be a family again. And then, bam, we're into the spinoffs. And then we're going to get multiple spinoffs, of course. So we're going to probably start with like Tokyo Drift 2 with Hans. So we're going to go back to Tokyo. And then that's going to roll us right into the Toretto's movie, which is just going to be like Dom, Letty, and like his sister, maybe one other person from like the original movies. And then we're going to get Fast X Miami. And that's going to be like Fast by Miami or like Fast X Miami, you know what I mean? And that's going to be with Ludacris and Tyrese. And then, of course, we'll get Hobbs and Shaw 2, bringing The Rock and Jason Statham back together. Then we'll get Dobbs versus Shaw, Dobbs. Shout out to Dobbs. Dom versus Shaw Part 1. Then we'll get Hobbs and Shaw Part 3. And then finally, after all of that, we'll end it with a few shelved movies. A few movies will get canceled because of the ratings and the tanking and everything else going in the hole. We'll end with Fast and Furious for the Streets, where it will be focused around the kids and the characters who were like in these last few films, all the kids of everyone, you know what I mean? And we'll hate it. We'll all hate it due to the fact that it's a new cast. But then at the end of the movie, there's going to be a final race, and like Dom and Letty, Vin Diesel shows up, and they take the bandana off or whatever that he's wearing, and it zooms in real close, and then like the Fast and Furious franchise finally ends with a zooming in on his face, and he says, "For family," and then he drops the flag, and then the NOS fills the thing, and the camera follows the NOS through the engine, through the tailpipe, out the back, boom, the race starts, and then cut to black, and that's the end of the final Fast and Furious franchise movie. So I think that would be fantastic. I think that'd be a fantastic ending. I think they would get away with that as an ending. I think it'd be great. I think we could hang it up after at least 18 to 19. Maybe we end it on the 20th. Maybe that's the 20th film. I think that'd be good. I think the fans would like that. I think if the fans like Fast 10, they're definitely going to love Fast 19 and then what we do to wrap it up in Fast 20. So you know what I mean? Like Dominic Toretto will be president of the United States. And then in order to prevent the entire country, not just, a few people, the entire country going to war, he has to race with Iraq and China and Japan and all the other countries over there, and whoever wins the race gets the United States. And so the main point of the movie is, everyone's getting ready because Russia thinks they're going to win the race, so they're getting their missiles ready to launch towards the U.S. just to wipe us off the map. And then China, they're getting all their people on a plane already because if they win, they're just going to ship all of their people over to the United States where we are now to occupy all of our space. And like if this country wins, this is the threat that they're going to send. And so that's how the movie just kind of unfolds. And then there will be points and tension points. The whole back half of the movie is going to be the race because it's not just going to be like a quarter mile. It's not going to be a quarter mile at a time in, Fast and Furious 20 with Dominic Toretto as the president of the United States trying to save the world. It's going to be, like a multi-day thing. So it's going to have to be the back half of the movie. And so what we're seeing then is just the trials and tribulations. People, there's insiders and someone, gets revenge on someone else and like all these other things. And it's going to then come down to one final thing. And like they blow up Dom's car and like he has to now win the race with someone else's car or a car that he didn't think would run, or like it's Brian's old car from back in the day that they found and it was just enough to get him over the finish line. And then bam, it's going to come neck and neck between him and like Russia. And it's either going to be us as communists for the rest of our lives because Russia and Putin are going to be in control, or Dominic Toretto, the president of the United States, who's going to save us all. And he hits the NOS at the last second and wins the race. And we're all safe. And the nukes are put away and the world is safe to be, to live, to see another day. And then the movie just ends with neon green race cars going down the highway of California. And so that'll probably be Fast and Furious 20, And I think it's great. I think that would be a great way for the series to end. You know what I mean? It'd be a great way for the series to end. Also, dude, sad news coming out of the podcast industry. Our friend of the show, guest of the show, we've talked about him all the time. His hat has been sitting right here in every episode for the last few weeks. Tim 20 Minutes has announced his retirement officially. Not retirement permanently, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure he's taking a much needed semi-permanent break from podcasting. And I mean, the man was on fucking fire. I mean, from interviewing just CEOs, people who make a difference, mental health advocates, comedian, friggin' Dane Cook was on his podcast. Every week he would release an interview and a solo episode. I can't even get one person on the podcast for an interview a week, let alone do a solo episode that is full blown and then an interview and then everything else he was doing. He just tried to start a Sunday conversation with our other podcasting friend, Haley. And I mean, Jesus, man, it's crazy to think that man, after I think he did like 117 regular episodes. I don't know if he was counting his interviews in there somewhere, but I'd venture to guess that this man probably did over 120 episodes all around the topic of mental health. If nothing else, go listen to this man's back catalog, listen to the interviews, watch the Dane Cook episode, go watch the episode of our podcast with him on it. That was awesome. Go watch he has topic related episodes. If you're going through something specific with your mental health, he's got to have something for you. And listen, I mean, this comes from a guy who not too long ago was struggling real hard, and obviously he is now again. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to Tim. We've reached out publicly and privately on Twitter and all of our other communication channels, of course, for him that we have. And he's doing just fine, but just taking a much needed break. When you go that hard for too long, you know how it feels. The man hit 120 episodes, and I think, man, it's crazy. It's crazy when you have to do it by yourself. When you see these, celebrity podcasts and the people you've been watching for years and years and years. Yeah, I'm sure they started out the same way we did, but to keep going, you have to eventually, it has to, if it's like this and steadily a little bit, that's fine. But if it doesn't go to the point where you have the resources and everything to then hire someone to edit or get someone to make the clips or get the sponsorships for you, or even if you know how to do that, or even if you know how to monetize your podcast, to start doing that. And even with the tools that are out there that like Anchor or Spotify provide, they're not that great anyways, because you're only making, I don't know what, 3, 4, 5 cents an episode. After you release 117 episodes, you've only made $27, and it doesn't really seem that worth it to someone who, might be struggling with mental health issues themselves. So shout out to our friends, Tim. I mean, he's going to be missed. If we're going to link to his podcast, if nothing else, use his catalog as a resource, and just continue to pump up those numbers in his absence, even if he won't be posting. I'm going to try to get him on this show again. Maybe we can get him back a little appearance, get him back in the saddle, maybe after a month or two, get him his toes back in the water, back to podcasting. And I think, once he takes his break, once we reboot, once we get him back to where he needs to be, I'm sure he'll be back on camera in front of that microphone again, playing rock, paper, scissors. I mean, what other podcaster do you know who plays rock, paper, scissors with their guest, let alone has the balls to say like, hey, you have to play with me and we're doing it? And of course, no one's going to say no. Who's going to say no to rock, paper, scissors? It's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. I love it. I love Tim. I love everything he stands for. I love his message. Break the stigma. Crack a smile. Do you, pimp? He's going to be missed. So we're going to keep talking about him. I'll keep wearing his hat. I'm going to keep repping his products. If you haven't done so already, does this man have inventory? If this man has inventory, I swear to God, we're buying it all. Tim 20 Minutes podcast. Where are you? Here you are, baby. Does he have stuff in his shop? Let's see. If he does, yeah, he's still got plenty. Everything's in there. So, okay, here's what you need to do. Just go to freaking 20timminutes.com. I'll put a link in the description this week. Tim needs it. So let's all go run up his shop. The shirts, I think the hat's something I just saw was $5. You can get a shirt or a hat for $5. I know you have $5. Go spend it at tim20minutes.com. And, man, I mean, like, could you imagine if we just sold him out? He gets like a dozen orders and then he's like, holy crap, maybe I shouldn't quit podcasting And then he comes back, and it's all thanks to us, and we'll be responsible, and then we'll have a party, and we'll invite him, and then maybe we'll go visit him in Massachusetts. Maybe we'll go visit him in Massachusetts, and we'll just take a microphone, and we'll just follow him around. We'll just take a microphone. Here's what I'm going to do. If Tim says he's not coming back, I'm going to go up to Massachusetts, wherever he is. I'm going to find out. I know people. If he doesn't tell me his address, I'll figure it out myself because I know people who know. I'll figure out his address. I'll get it from our friends. And then I'll go, and I'm just going to follow him around. I'm going to take my recorder. I'm going to take my microphone. I'm just going to hold it in front of him everywhere he goes. And that's going to be his podcast. That'll be Tim's podcast. I'll just follow him with a mic and a recorder. He doesn't even have to edit it, and we'll just upload it raw, and that'll be his podcast wherever he goes. You know, we'll mute it for like private time, and like if he has to, you know, go to the bathroom or whatever. But then I'll flip the switch right back on as soon as he's done and ask him how it was. Like, we'll just follow Tim around, and that'll be the new, we'll call it Tim IRL podcast. Tim's IRL podcast. I love the idea. I think we can bring him back. I think we can most likely bring Tim back. So I'm going to talk to some people. We're going to figure it out. And I think with some help with some friends, we're going to get some people together. We're going to drive up there. We're going to kidnap him. We're going to beat the shit out of him. We're going to throw him in a closet for 3 days. We're going to throw him in a closet with a microphone and recorder. We're going to say, come out with a new podcast. And then as soon as he's done recording, he's going to come out of that closet a new man. He's going to come out a brand new man with a brand new podcast. I think it's a great idea. I think that's what we should do. If he doesn't comply, we beat his ass, throw him in a closet, and force him to record. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. My name is Levi McCurdy, and thank you guys so much for getting me to episode 92. I promise, I will get us to episode 100 here in the next 8 weeks. We've got 2 months left, and then we are in the 100s, baby, okay? We're catching up to Lowe's. We're catching up to Tim. We're catching up to our friends who have hit that 100 club. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't done so, and I know you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Hit it, and then hit the bell. Hit it, and then hit the bell. Hit it, and then hit the bell, dude. Hit the bell. And then follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook, follow us, I don't know why I said LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, follow us on every social media platform at wadpod.com/links. And boy, oh boy, do we have some people lined up and some exciting episodes coming between now and 100. We've got some things planned, man. We've got a few things planned. When is episode 100? Let's figure that out together right now, shall we? Let's figure out. This is 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. 97 is on the 7th. Perfect. 97, 98, 99, 100. And then the next week is the 4th of July. And then, no, wait, 100. Oh, no, 100 July. We'll just be getting back from Mexico. So maybe we'll do a few bonus episodes in Mexico to boost us up to 100. What do you think? Maybe. And then if the episode, maybe we'll just record episode 100 in Mexico and then just have that be episode 100. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll ask some of the close friends. I know, and also too, dude, everyone's asking me. I've taken a few weeks off from Twitch. Everyone wants to know when I'm jumping back in that saddle. We moved down 2 levels. We're no longer 150th. We're 152nd now in Super Mario 64 70-star Super Mario All-Stars version for the Nintendo Switch. We're 152nd now on speedrun.com. So we need to get back on the grind. So we're going to, here, I think in the next week, maybe in the next 2 weeks, we're going to start streaming on Twitch again. So be sure you follow us over on twitch.tv/WADPOD, WAWDPOD. And It's going to be on and popping over there. Our friends James and Crimson. Crimson's getting his streams back up again. He just got back to PA, so be on the lookout. Hopefully now that we've got all the chatters, now that everyone from the stream is here in PA, we might be doing like a live, like in-person thing, hopefully really soon. So if we can make that happen, I think we could potentially do something awesome together. So we're going to talk to the boys. We're going to talk to A2C. We're going to talk to Crimson. We're going to talk to Polly Walnuts. And we might just have like a WAD Pod streamathon here in the studio, which honestly would be kind of actually dope because Paul just got a PS5. He's playing through his game really well. And I mean, it's just... We've got that coming, and like, be on the lookout. Paul might start streaming on the Twitch channel. I don't know, dude. We've got so many freaking plans, so many things down the pipeline, so many guests coming. We've got an episode on this podcast with Carlos coming soon. He owes me one, and so much more. So we give thanks to everyone watching. Shout out to our friend Tim, 20 minutes. And your podcasting journey thus far. We're going to miss you, buddy. Hopefully we'll get you back in the saddle soon. Shout out to all of our subscribers thus far, all 1,017 of you beautiful, beautiful faces, 1,017 of you. Thank you guys so much for hitting that subscribe button. And if you haven't done so already, join the other 1,017 people who haven't hit that button. I know I've said it 100 times, but I'll say it 100 more. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 92. Peace out, everybody. See you later. This is the What Are We Doing podcast.